Hey guys, I'm gonna get my lights. I just thought I'd give it. Hey John, I thought I'd give it some time. I know, Bot missed. She's been missing days. She owes me. She owes me too many days now. Okay, so we're gonna be doing the New Year's stream, which basically means we have to cry and bitch and moan. No, I'm just kidding. No, but we're gonna reflect and then we're gonna talk Resies. I'm too far away. Oh my gosh. So we're gonna reflect and talk resolutions tonight. Because that's what I do. There's some kids outside. I hope you can hear them. So you can hear what I deal with. Okay. It's so funny that they're so like obnoxious. You know, they haven't been around for literally like any holiday. Hey Celtic. What's Spot been busy with? Oh, I'm burping. Oh my gosh, this is what happens. Holy crap, that light is like daylight. Hashtag like daylight. Damn. Let me make it warmer. Oh, last Zoom or room or whatever. Okay, now I can see you guys. Oh my gosh. I am so sad today. No, I'm actually drinking straight up champagne. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not drinking champagne. I am drinking apple juice. Could you imagine? I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to do it. Period. That would be funny. Oh yeah, she wasn't here last time. She wasn't. She's on my naughty list. Anyways, I don't know why I want you guys close to me. I want you close. So anyways, how was your guys' New Year? I should probably announce it, I guess, in case anybody's around. I know it's a holiday, so it's a weird holiday though, because like some people go to bed, some people stay up, some people do other things, you know, some people are busy, some people aren't. Like I never know. And then it's like people around the world, they've already had it, you know, so it's like I don't know what's going on, you know. I'm gonna go ahead and try to share the link as well. Ooh, I don't know why, but our heater is really freezing when it first turns on. It's like horrible. It's like cold. It's blowing cold air. Love the vibe of me drinking. We're gonna pretend that I'm drinking, okay? Anyways, so I don't know why, but for me, every time we have New Year's, oh my god, I'm freezing. Holy crap, I am cold. Oh my god, that air is horrible. Oh my god, it's like burning me. Jeez, you guys. Holy shit. Oh my gosh, I'm freezing. Oh gosh. I will say, it's horrible to say, but I always wanted to do New Year's in Australia. Another failed dream. Failure. Drink up to the fails. Dang, it like shot out at me. Oh my god, you guys. So yeah, I was kind of. Oh my god, the heater literally just went back on. I wasn't like. Oh my god. I know. I'd love to be in Sydney. I would love to. I mean, I wouldn't go now because who the frick would I go with? No one. It'd be even more scarring. I think I'd feel like a stalker if I was there at this point. I'm not going to go unless if I have someone to go to, you know? Someone to go to, someone to go with. I'm not going by myself. That's too crazy for me. It's not Poofa, Sam. You're a liar. This is just apple juice. Which, by the way, I was getting like hellacious wrinkles in my forehead. And I felt like I was literally like dying and turning into a Agatha Christie. But then I started I quit the sugar, and because I quit sugar, I had to have like 5,000 pounds of fruit and juice like every 10 seconds to survive. And my skin is getting better. So I think I was like vitamin C deficient, probably. Because now my Agatha isn't as there. See? I don't know if it's showing up as much. I was feeling really duffy this like fall/winter, whatever. Feeling ugly and fat and rejected. So that was my 2023. Feeling ugly, fat, and rejected. So anyways, let's look back at 2023, you guys. What I sent Sam a really scarring message that he's not going to repeat, but he knows. That was like one of my first thoughts when the new year hit, Sam, but for the record. By the way, I've already listened to Taylor. I listened to New Year's Day. So that's where the lyrics are from. Because that was kind of my vibe. I don't know why, but New Year's Day by Taylor Swift, it's like a song that makes me want to. I don't know how to say this without YouTube getting triggered, but SLIT my wrist. It's kind of sad. And then it just like I had this weird flashback of like New Year's for 2019 and like how many hopes I had at that time and what I wanted and how sad I was and like just all these weird feelings from like 5 years ago. Or yeah, 5 years ago. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm doing okay with the vitamin C for sure. It totally helps. Like it's helping. I have to see, I need more time. I've only been doing this for like 4 days, but it's totally making a difference in a really short amount of time. But yeah, so anyways, it just reminded me of when the Reputation tour came out and I watched it on Netflix, which apparently they're taking it off of Netflix. But I was really depressed and I was like hopeful to move to Australia and like to do stuff like that. It's kind of crazy. Gosh, my dreams do not die very easily, do they? It's just weird because when I reflected on 2023, I just realized what made this year so different, which I did like a really short audio. What made it so different was that it was so personal. After like 2020, 2021, and 2022, those were like the most huge scale public, societal, political years of my entire life, probably of all of our lives, to be honest. But 2023 was so incredibly personal, and I felt like so many of my personal issues, they'd been put on the back burner for all of COVID and all this crap. So this year, it was like I had to actually deal with personal issues. And then I also was getting healthier. And so then I had to separate myself from my disease to the extent where I just want to cry. Oh, gosh. Sorry, I just saw Caleb's comment and I'm like, ugh, almost made me cry because like I totally understand it. I wanted it to happen. I really did. I was going to do a certain visa, but I can't even do it anymore because I'm too old now. That's sad. But I lost a lot of time because of COVID and, you know, they got to do everything they can to ruin your life. So, but, anyways, I was just like, so I did too, Kayla, but for me, it was definitely like, I don't think it was ever just about the country. Like there was definitely a magic because I visited there and there was like a magic there. Or there was just I felt like I could fit in there. Which is a really weird feeling because I never feel that way ever. So I think that's why like when I went, it had such a huge impact on me because it was the only time in my life I felt like I kind of fit in. Now, of course, that didn't really last. And towards the end of the 2 weeks, I was starting to go crazy. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, nobody's talking normal. I was being really weird and extra. I think I started to have like culture shock a little bit. And then I was going to come back anyways. So it didn't matter. But I think for me, I just, I was in love and I don't know if I still am. I can't tell anymore. But I don't feel like there's like, I don't know. It's just like a slow process. Does that make sense? But I was so like in love. And I just remember like 2019, I was like, oh gosh, it's just crazy. It's crazy to look back on. I don't know why I'm going back that far. Gosh. Jeez, I don't understand. I blame this Mercury retrograde. It's like really fucking me up at the very end. But anyways, it's weird to have like Mercury retro at New Year's, like ending on New Year's. That's kind of crazy. um, but also Jupiter retrograde as well. But I was just so like, I don't know. It's so hard to explain. I know if Sam is here, he would totally get what I'm saying. I don't know if you guys do get it because, like, Sam was teaching me about, um, like resonance or whatever, or like vibrations. And there's a lot of like more new agey or spiritualistic stuff that I don't believe in, but I do believe in the vibrations. And it's weird to say, but like back in 2019 and 2018, I was so low vibe, like incredibly low vibration. Like I lived completely in like a feeling of lack and like anger all the time. Like I remember in 2019, I hated that I was living in El Paso. And it was like something that I was so embarrassed that I lived in El Paso. I hated living there. I couldn't believe I was there. I just wanted to get the fuck out immediately. I wanted that time of my life to be a complete blip. And I ended up spending the most severe part of Cove there. And it's just funny because a lot of times when everything went down with Cove, throughout a lot of those years, or a lot of time in those years, I was so grieving for who I was in 2019, or grieved for the 2019 version of me, like the version of me that had never gone through that. And it's just weird in 2023. It's like I went even further than that. Like I'm beyond 2019 me. It's like I'm even better than that. It's like when I look at things now, I don't exist merely from a place of want or lack or whatever you want to call it. Now, today has been hard. Today, I'm hitting day 4 of no sugar, and I was craving it today. I was having hard times. So I do think some of my sadness today could be from that. Also, I can tell I'm going back into a deficit. When you're going back into deficit, you feel fugly. It's like I feel funkified again and all ugly and gross like I usually do when I'm in a deficit. But it's really hard and disgusting to be in a deficit in January, like in the winter. It's really difficult. I'm not counting though, but it's like I know I'm losing again. I can tell. It's probably like slow or whatever, but it's fugly. I have never done this thyroid protocol without eating sugar. So I don't know what's going to happen to me. To be fair, I don't. Um, but I'm done. Like I had cravings today and everything, and I said no. I was like, no, period, bet. I'm not doing it. But I think that's why I was kind of sad today. But typically I'm not anymore. Like I feel like mostly okay. Like especially since Christmas, I'm not constantly in that. And I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I'm sure some of you guys understand like what it's like to live from a place of resistance. Like in 2019, Happy New Year, Celtic. In 2019, everything I did was like I was resisting this and resisting that and resisting being in El Paso and resisting being fat and resisting that, resisting living in the house with my mom and her husband and the kids and all that. I was resisting that. I was resisting earning money. I was resisting eating. It's like I was just in resistance of everything. And it's like in 2024, I don't live that way at all. I'm not resisting anything anymore. I'm just like totally different. And yeah, I think that's true, Sam. There's something to that. And today, I'm not really resisting anything. And I try to, like I said, I was sad. No, I didn't resist Trump. I did resist the left, though. That was something I resisted. But I just, I'm, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm trying to say, I guess. But I guess what I'm just saying is I don't feel that way at all, which is crazy. Hi, Pot. I didn't know if I would ever not be that way. Like there's certain things that you feel like are just an inherent part of your personality. And then I realized it wasn't. And it's like, but I told Sam like a couple months ago, or I think in November, because when I was having kind of figuring out my identity crisis, I kind of told him that I was, yeah, you're late. No, I'm just kidding. When I was figuring that out, I was just, I don't even remember what I was saying. My brain cells are dead. Oh my God, I'm sorry. Wow. I don't know. Let's continue. Sorry, with the reminiscing. So 2023, it was about like personal shit. Oh, I know what I was saying. With Sam, I told him in November that I could see two distinct parts of my personality. I could see the real me and what I call essence, and I could see the disease. I could see the hypo because they had split in November, or particularly in late October. And so in November, they had split and I could feel it. And I am so much more in the essence part. No, I don't have an Australian visa. I could feel so much more in the, like, I'm so much more in essence now, to the point where, like, I always told Sam that the part of me that was attracted to that ASM artist guy was my disease. I've told Eric that too. I always told him, I was like, whenever my hormones are at their absolute worst, that's when I'm obsessed with blank. And it's just so funny because I'm not interested in him at all anymore. And it's because the real me is like the only one now. So I think 2024 is going to be really weird because, like, I don't know. I don't know if you guys can understand, like, if you've ever been that sick where it's like you almost have another personality because of it. Does that make sense to anybody? Does that make sense to anyone? Am I just sounding nuts? It was a working, I think it was a work, oh, I don't even remember, but it's like a travel working visa or something like that. But you have to do it before the age of 31, which I'm too old now. I'm an old hag now. So I can't do it anymore. It's over for me. I'm a hag, but I couldn't afford it. I mean, between Cove and then inflation, Biden inflation, and it was not going to be possible for me. Just because of that. Like I was going to apply though in 2020. I had the money to apply and I was going to get it. And then obviously we know what happened, and it would have been a disaster if I would have been there during Cove because I probably would have ended up homeless. So, I mean, God protects us from things that wouldn't be good. I also don't think my relationship would have worked out if I would have went then. I was insane. As Sam agrees with me, sickness self is a thing. And back in 2019, sickness self was my entire personality. For most of the time that you guys have known me, my sickness self was my entire personality up until October. In October, I'm sure you remember me crying and being all extra and being like, my subconscious is so loud. My subconscious is so loud. That was my essence coming out of the sickness. And to me, it's the complete end of the hypohaze. It's like the whole year I was getting out of the hypohaze, getting further and further away from it. And then now it's like, it's completely done. I'm out. Like, there's no sickness self really anymore. Like, There's irritability, like I get irritable, but it's not the same. Like sickness self was like I would sabotage myself or I'd make sure I set things up to where there'd be no spontaneity. I made sure, I tried to control other people around me, right? Like it's these types of things living in like a hyper vigilant state. And I think that that sickness self, again, I'm not a spiritualist, but I try to look at things a little bit more positively. And so I would say that my sickness self, in the grand scheme of things, protected me from some really terrible ideas. Like I'm pretty sure if I didn't have that weird psycho protection mechanism, I may have believed that I was trans, for example, especially in the past few years or past 10 years, especially when I was younger. I feel like I would have believed something like that. Um, because I was so like all the time, I never fell for anything like that. And so it's like I get to be myself now that I'm older and smarter. So I'm not dumb and I'm not going to fall for terrible ideas or stuff that doesn't make any sense, especially with the times. The times are insane. People push insane things on you. Like, imagine if I wouldn't have been as guarded and I would have listened to somebody that would tell me that I need to smoke weed every day. I probably would be dead. With the amount of estrogen and hypo and all the issues I had, if I would have smoked weed and become dependent on weed, I probably would be dead today. I don't think I could have survived it. So it's like there's certain things, and then God only knows what could have happened romantically, but there's bad with it too. There is such a thing as being overly protective of yourself or hyper vigilant, and there was a lot of bad that came with it as well. But it's like I can't go back in time, but that part of me is gone because of 2023. And that's a crazy thing to really think about. So when I talk to you guys about like identity crisis or um when I think about, oh, okay, that's interesting. Well, yeah, but I think that one's harder to get, Caleb. Um anyways, so yeah, I don't know, like my whole thing was just like I I don't know, like I don't know what's going to happen in 2024 now because I haven't been this person that I am now for a really long time. Like I'd say like over 10 years ago, you know what I mean? Like a very long time. So it's just like I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what will happen. I already know some changes are on the horizon. I'm not going to tell you guys anything until things are really happening or really finalized. Some of which could be controversial, but it's something I never would be capable of before this year. I never would have been capable of what is likely to happen if not for 2023. And it's just like, I don't know. As much as I don't like 2023 or as much as I didn't like it or it was difficult, like again, I talked to a lot of people a lot this year. And Sam is one of them. And I talked to Sam about a lot of really horrific spiritual things that I went through this year. Particularly after my breakup or during the breakup, like there was just like such a hopelessness um this year. And then when you combine it with like the financial aspect, there was a lot of hopelessness and like so many feelings of like being in quicksand in 2023. And so I don't know. No, it wasn't a wine bottle, but um, I don't know. But how did you guys do this year? What was your experience of 2023? Because I have like very mixed feelings because even though I had like such dark experiences, such intense hopelessness, um, of so many different things, and I don't even just mean like the breakup, it was like everything. It's like I'm not where I want to be. I'm fat. I don't have any money. I didn't have a car for a couple months, for a few months out of this year. Like it was really difficult. I had like I felt like I had nothing. I had nothing but this place, living here. And it was expensive for me to live here. It was hard. So it was very hard, very difficult of a year. And I did listen to my favorite astrologer. He kind of talked about it. And he talked about how this year was about a lot of like loss. I know, but you don't remember. This year had a lot to do with loss and like losing things or whatever. Basically like giving things up, losing things. Um, Reduction is the word he used a lot, which is very accurate. And he said that like a lot of the question of 2023 was when we experience these losses, do we go to conflict or do we go towards peace to solve that issue? And I've done both a lot this year. I fought so much this year. I think the amount of times I fought with my mom is kind of insane this year. It was so crazy. And then October hit and I embraced peace and the fighting got way less. And it's still drastically less. And it's now getting to be like months. And I'm just like, I really have learned that. Like, you don't always have to fight if something goes bad. And I think there's value in learning to fight, but there is also value in learning like what resists persists. And you don't have to like fight everything all the time. Because even now, like when I'm dieting, I don't feel like I'm fighting sugar or I'm fighting an addiction or I'm fighting this or I'm fighting that. Like I don't feel that way. In the beginning of the year, I was, you know? So I don't know. I'm still really figuring that out. I feel like, I mean, technically the 2023 cycle isn't over yet until March, but that's what I feel like this cycle was about for a lot of people, probably me too, especially me. But it's that idea of like, do we always have to fight to get things done? And I don't think you do. I think I've realized I don't have to. I can allow things to happen, or I can allow things to change, or allow people to help me, or allow different things. And I just think it's so much more balanced. And I still think it goes back to my health journey, because I'm not in the haze. So I don't have to fight everybody all the time. It's very opposite to, I will throw slight shade, but it's very opposite to someone else that we all know. I've seen somebody go through the inverse experience of what I have, constantly fighting with everybody all the time for any reason. And I don't say it to throw shade. I say it because I can relate and it worries me. I like triggers me because I don't want to be like that ever again. And so I guess that would probably be my first resolution of 2024 is to keep peace in mind and try to be peaceful. I think it will be difficult, but I want to maintain this because I've learned a lot, like with my mom and stuff. And I just feel like I always said, like, I always felt if I could ever get to a place where I wouldn't fight with my mom as much or all the time, then I would be ready for, to get married or whatever. Like I'd be ready for that next step. Cause the thing is my mom is like, she's very spontaneous. She's a super spontaneous person. And my illness side hated spontaneity. So there'd always be huge, huge, huge resistance to my mom. And that illness side is kind of dying. It's like kind of gone. So I don't feel that way anymore. It's like I'm not as upset as she just like today. I thought she's having a car issue. It had to do with her power steering fluid. I thought we were going to do it tomorrow on the 1st, basically Monday. She tells me this morning, no, we're doing it today. I said that we were doing it today. And I said, no, we said Monday. And she's like, no, I said, she's like, no, I told you today, blah, blah, blah. We got to do it today. So we got in a little bit of a fight about that because I'm like, I planned on tomorrow and you changed it to today. And she's like, no, I didn't. And so then we're like arguing about that. And while I still resisted it, there's still a feeling with that. It still was like, it passed and I let it go. And I ended up just helping my mom today. And the reason I didn't want to is because I feared I wouldn't be able to get downtown and work and make enough money to pay the rent. I wanted to have the rent done today, and I didn't think that both could happen. So I resisted helping her, got into an argument, but in the end, that feeling passed. I helped her, and I still got the money, and I still was able to do my rent today. Still was able to afford it today. So it's like I'm realizing like it's that rigidity it's something that has always been with me, and it's my illness side. It's not healthy because it's not real. Like I could do both. And I think the other issue too is like I struggle a lot with what I'm capable of because I don't trust my body. Like there's been 2 times now where I felt like I was going to get a migraine and I was terrified, not terrified, but like, oh God, here it comes, but then it never happened twice. My landlord's great. I mean, we've been really good as far as like our payments and everything. We've never had like an issue like we did last year. And our landlord at the last place was horrible. But this one is fine. Mostly left alone. It's no big deal. But we've paid on time, so it's like you don't have an issue if you pay on time. That's just landlords don't care if you pay on time. Does that make sense? Anyways, so yeah. So anyways, I think that's kind of what I'm working through is that sort of like, it's okay. It was the same thing when me and Lisa filmed the podcast. It's like, I'm just realized like but with that, like there was no resistance and it was fine. Like we did a little something to make it happen on Friday. And I was flexible, and that I was like immediately flexible. With my mom, it's really challenging because my mom is very spontaneous. So she's like a really good bellwether for like how well I'm doing. Because not only is she spontaneous, but she's pushy. So it's like she'll come up with something out of nowhere. If you don't immediately go with it, then she gets mad. It's that kind of thing. And like I said, was it really a big deal? No, it wasn't. I was still able to do what I needed to do today, and I did that, and I don't have to worry about it tomorrow. You see? It's it's weird. That's what I'm talking about. So it's like I didn't have to fight to do both. I could have just done both because I'm better. I can work better. And it's like I'm just not used to it. I'm not used to what I'm capable of. And so I think that's another resolution for 2024. I need to test my new capacity because I don't know what it is anymore. So I need to see how that goes, like even now, technically still being in a deficit in January. That's amazing. I could not do this a year ago. I couldn't. And again, I've only been better since October. It's not very long, you guys. So it's like I don't know what the hell I can do now. It's a weird feeling. And I don't know, I guess I might be surprised. Um, like my rent is done. I did Christmas. I had like so much money coming in and out. It was crazy this month. But it's like I worked my ass off and I was still able to do everything. And I was totally with it. I don't know. Time's changing, you guys. Like I'm telling you, it's different. I don't know. So yeah, I guess that's my resolution so far is to keep peace as a value. Like I want to keep peace as that sort of like fruit of the spirit, something that I really worked hard to develop. So I want to maintain that and then test my capacity a bit. Other resolutions I have, I want to be more extroverted. I think it's time to like return. I've been so reclusive since 2019. I know I'm introverted as hell. I am very introverted, but I never was reclusive. I was actually very social pretty much all throughout my teen years and young 20s and everything. But towards 2019, I started to become reclusive because I started to hate everybody and I wanted to be away from everyone. I couldn't stand people anymore. And I want to move past that as well. So that's another resolution. Like I want to be more extroverted and actually like go see people. Like I want to go visit Lisa, for example. That's a resolution. I know I need to go back to California for a wedding. So those are 2 trips that I want to do. I've already peer pressured Eric into visiting me. And then I'm going to see my cousin pretty soon because I haven't seen her as much. And if I start getting in a better financial position, particularly because of YouTube and possibly other stuff as well, which again, I'll tell you guys about if things happen, things may be changing. I want to make sure I fill my time because again, somebody I used to know is a bit of a warning to me. I need to not be isolate. As an introvert, it's so natural for me to be isolate, but it's so deeply unhealthy for us introverts to be completely isolated. So I have to make sure, like, if I'm not working as much and in the public all the time, I need to make sure I fill in that time. And I feel like I'm healthy enough now where I can do that. So that's another resolution. I want to make sure that I'm filling my time with social activity and like seeing family or like doing things or traveling, like meeting people in person and being more in person in 2024. The other thing is, I did always feel like I felt like a while back, God kind of told me that he would bless me more financially if I wasn't eating sugar anymore. I think because if I had a lot of money and I was just eating candy and stuff, I would just eat a lot. And so the only limit I had was my finances. But if my diet is pretty strict, then I think that limitation will probably go away. It's the same thing with time. Like, I feel like if God saw that I would not use my time and that I would just lay in bed all day at home every day and not talking to anybody, then he wouldn't want me to have money so that I wouldn't just work all the time, because that's like been a crutch of mine. And it has really helped me, to be honest. But now I'm healthy enough where even if I didn't have to constantly work, I would fill in the time, because it's like I have less of that rigidity and less of that sickness version of me, where it's like in the past, maybe I would have had reservations about my cousin visiting, because I would have been like, oh gosh, I don't know if I want her to see the place, or I don't know, it's like you have this feeling. But then now it's like, of course I want her to. I want to see her more. It's like I want to enjoy my life more. It's just a different feeling. So I think it's just genuinely health. And I think that's why I can't stamp 2023 as a bad year. It was just, it was very dark, but very healing on such a deep level. Like, I told Sam this too. I feel like I'm saying a lot of things that I told I told Sam earlier this year, but it's like, um oh gosh, I forgot what I was gonna say though. I think it's just really remembering like why you even work or why you even do things, and it's because you want to enjoy your life. Like, you're not just doing it just to do it. You're doing it to improve your situation and get somewhere better, or get to something, like to improve yourself essentially. And I think I lost touch with that like in 2022. Like, I just worked all the time. And it was good for me at that time because it kept me active and I needed to stay active. But now it's like, I don't need to do that anymore. Like, it's starting to hold me back. So, yeah, I think my life's going to change. I do. I think in some really positive ways. If I let it, it's that whole thing. And I think that's what 2024 will be. I think it can be a good year for you if you allow it to be. But it might be a time when we're having to shift those preconceived notions. 2023 highlighted how important education is to me. This job is great to an extent, but it's not something I want to become permanent. You work 8 hours earning minimum wage versus if I get a degree and enter the corporate world, I can earn 5 times more working the same amount of hours. Yeah, I would say that makes sense. It depends. I don't know how your system is there, but it depends on debt versus the time at the school versus if you can get a job. There's a lot of different factors, of course, but if it all works out, then absolutely, you know. I think for me, it's just like, I don't know. It was, I don't know. I don't think I needed education. Um, I think I needed to just go my own path, and I'm still doing that anyways, and it's probably going to be fine. So I don't think education not in that sense anyways, is for everyone. It was a waste for me. But for other people, it can be great, you know? So it really depends. It's not like a blanket solution. But yeah, it's like I I don't know. I don't know. It's so weird. It's like I guess too, part of growing up at this stage of my life, I guess, is like you realize that certain things don't matter. So I feel like yeah, that makes absolute sense, Caleb, on that level too. Um, I totally get that. But in terms of me, it was useless, absolutely useless. I've never used my degree. It's never done anything but waste my time and give me some debt that I didn't need to have. That's about all it did. And that's not just my experience, it's a lot of people's experience. So it's like, you know, I'm never going to be somebody that's like, rah, rah, college, yes. Like, I don't believe in that. I just don't. I think it's BS for a lot of people. Not everybody, but I'd say probably around half, like for a large portion of people, it is kind of BS. But at the end of the day, it's like what I was trying to say is you kind of realize that it doesn't matter. It's like what other people do, it doesn't affect what you do. What works for someone else doesn't work for you, and vice versa. I always knew for me, I wanted to be kind of like iconoclastic. So I wanted to break the mold, change things, actually, like, I guess, be more creative in that sense. Whereas I felt education was extremely like drilling things into everybody's heads, and it wants everybody to think the exact same. It's very much about being the system, not changing it. And so I struggled with college because I didn't listen to professors. I would argue with them. I thought what they were saying was dumb. And the only real benefit from going to college is it showed me how full of shit it is. Like, I know it because I've seen it in person and I experienced it. I think if I hadn't gone to university, I wouldn't realize what absolute crap it was, because I would have believed in it. I would have been like, oh, yeah, education's really great. But when I went to it, saw the classes, saw what was being taught, saw how it was, I was like, oh no, this is stupid. And it's just like, if I hadn't seen it, I couldn't call it out. Does that make sense? So that part is worth it to me just because like I know what it is and I've been. So it's like because it's a lot of like I said, it's like you are the system. And I know so many people who are educated who are not intelligent. I know that that's harsh, but it's just true. Yeah. I mean, I agree with that, but I would want something like as far as like a doctor or something or like a surgeon, but it's also too like for me personally, doctors never helped me. So I don't know, like what are they really being taught? You know? It's just I think I've just questioned so many things over the past 4 years that it's like, gosh, like what is even being taught? What is they even like what are they even doing? I don't know. Yeah, it's just crazy. Even going to the debt, if I have to, it'll be quite easy to pay off. Yes, Caleb, as long as you get a job, which it depends, It's tricky. It's a gamble. I think everything is a gamble. So that's fine. I think, I've sacrificed a lot to be a more creative person for sure. I've sacrificed a lot. I've spent a lot of years with no money or having very little money. But I've worked and I've worked and I've worked at it. I worked at just everything I've done. And it's like I've worked with people. I've learned so much. You guys saw some of that last year. Like that was invaluable to me in terms of like the industry I want to go into and like this type of stuff. Like it was such important lessons I never could have learned in college. Yeah, right. But how is college going to prepare you to be a YouTuber? How is college going to prepare you to be an activist? It can't. It's not going to teach you anything like that. So it's like, I just don't think college is the be all end all. And I think that's the other thing too, is like, I'm kind of glad you brought this up, Caleb, because it reminds me one of the greatest benefits of my illness is that my illness did not allow me to take a traditional path, like just going into education and just getting a job after. And that version of me, I know that version of me would never accomplish what this version will. So sometimes there are blessings in the curse, because the person I am today, if I were to look into an alternate reality where I never was hypo and I just went to college, I studied science, and I went on to be a scientist or something, for example, and I just had a job and I made my money and I didn't care about anything and I didn't change anything and nothing happened. And I just said all the SJW talking points. I just went along with whatever I needed to do to keep my job. And I just kept my head down forever. I think about that version of me and I'm so glad that never happened, because I really think it could have. Because I was very, not conformist. I don't know if I've ever been conformist, but like I wanted to be. Like it was my natural inclination to just, keep a high status and do that type of thing without question and just go along with the crowd. And if I had never been ill, I never would have broken away from that. And if I would have never broken away from that, I never would accomplish the things I can see that I'm going to, which are big. I have very big ambitions, but it's like I never would have done that. I never would have learned the things that I learned after college. I never would have worked the way I did, experienced what I did. I would not have had experience of being the working poor, for example, where I actually see how policies help or hurt. I never would have seen the effects of inflation the way that I have. Like, I don't know if I have a future in politics, but if I do, I don't know. I think I will. If I ever were to become a politician, I would be a much better politician for not following the traditional college path and pursuing a creative path, because it just, I don't know. I feel like it gave me a lot of wisdom that I wouldn't have had, because I was very superficial, you know? I was very superficial. I think it would have been my personal tendency, had I never been hypo, it would have been my tendency to just be very superficial. And because of that disease, it forced me into a depth that I never would have had, which is really interesting to think about. So, I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is I feel like everything happens for a reason. And I'm not against college, but I am against this idea that you have to get an education to make money, or you have to get an education to be successful, or you have to get an education to not have to work minimum wage your whole life. Like, that's not true. You don't. You don't have to go to college to do that. You absolutely don't. And so I think that's where it irritates me, because it's that idea of you must. It's not a you must, it's a you can. It's definitely a path, but it's not your only path. And it's so much not a path that I wish I had never gone. So you can do your own business, you can be an entrepreneur. That's a huge thing. And in entrepreneurship, you can do almost anything. So it just depends on how good you are at it. So anything creative or artistic, you do not need college to write. You don't need college to paint. You don't need college to sculpt. You don't need college to write plays, for example, or act. You don't have to go to college to act. Anything creative at all, you do not have to go to college for. It's not even a thing. The other stuff is like media. You don't have to go to college to be a journalist. Like, it's very much a thing. Like Tim Pool did not go to college, for example. So it's like you don't have to. When I understand, Caleb, other countries, it may be different, but I'm talking about in America, because that idea is still very much pushed in the United States, and it's not true here. So again, you could have your own coffee shop. You could do, it might be hard now because the loans and stuff. It's horrible now. But I'm just saying, like, you can start any kind of business. You could do any kind of cooking, restaurant business. Some people do like education at some places, but you don't always have to go to college to be a chef or a cook or anything like that. You don't have to go to college to, I mean, anything religious, like, or spiritual or whatever. Like, if you wanted to do psychiatry or anything like that, you don't have to go to college for that. I mean, there's a lot of things you don't have to go to college for. Well, sure, Caleb, but not everybody is successful going to college either. I went to college and it did not help me be successful whatsoever. And that's a reality that you're ignoring. And I'm not the only person. There's a lot of people who went who are not successful. I'd say probably the majority are not successful in America. They don't have what they thought they would get when they went to college. They don't have what they signed up for. And a lot of people have to go back for further education or an entirely new degree because the whole first degree is a waste. That's extremely common in the United States. Yes, but also too, who knows the specific job that they're going to do at 18? Did you know about it? I didn't. I think there are certain people with certain personality types that do know, but I think most people don't know. Most people get a degree in something and they end up doing something completely different. Yeah, and I guess for me, it's good that I went because I don't wish I had. I wish I hadn't, which is funny. Maybe I would have regretted it, but I will just say it's kind of like just I think if you have something like super specific or like an extreme passion in something, then it's worth it. Or I guess if you're just doing it for the money, if you're doing it for the money, then you need to do it in an industry. You need to like try to predict the market and that kind of stuff. I could see that, but it's a crapshoot, right? Like you could graduate and then there's no jobs. You could graduate, the economy crashes, you can't get a job, then you're in debt. You could graduate and it's in a hyper competitive field and you're just struggling to get a job in that field and you can't. Like that can always happen. And then you could be saddled with debt and then you can't even pay it back. And then you have to work at a restaurant anyways. Like almost all my friends have degrees and a lot of them have their degree has nothing to do with what they do. And most of them, the job that they have, they could have gotten without a degree. And that's pretty much all my friends. So I'm just saying, that's a lot of people. You know, Eric is a waiter. He has a degree. It's not it's not any guarantee. That's all I'm trying to say. So again, you could say Tim Pool is the exception, but I see people that make it after college, they're the exception. I don't think it's that common. Unless if you're getting a PhD or a master's or something like that. But that's still you have to go back for more education. It's even more. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah, I guess. It just depends on what job. Like, do you think you need to go to college to be a cop? Do you need to be a cop go to college to I'm not exactly sure what his degree is, but I think it's like I think he got a degree in like health science or something like that. Um, a teacher, I don't you have to just have a degree to be a teacher. Pharmacist, yeah, but you have to go to pharmacist school. So it's kind of a scam because you have to go to college to then go to pharmacist school. Doctor, same thing. You have to get an undergrad so you can go into medical school. Nursing, yes. Nursing, you go to college and then you can be a nurse. So, okay, sure, bot. Um, yeah, but the issue is like that financial aid is still paid for by everybody else. So it's like you still have to pay for it. It's not free. So I don't know. I'm just saying. Yeah. Yeah, but he's not. So he's a waiter. So I'm just saying. Um, yeah. I'm just saying that it's no guarantee. It's not a guarantee of success. I have friends that have degrees. The field didn't work out. So you could get a degree, go into the job, and you fucking hate it. Then what? You're just gonna do something you hate the rest of your life? It's hard. It's no guarantee. There are no guarantees in life. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine. I just yeah. I don't know. Like I said, Caleb, every job I've had, I could have had without a degree. So my opinion is the complete opposite of yours. I every single job I've had, I didn't need a degree. Every single one. So no. 0. 0 guarantee. I learned very little about teaching. That's funny. That's true. It is very different state by state. But still, Sam, you're not a teacher anymore. You don't do it anymore. So you prove my point. It was no guarantee. And that was also Sam's second degree or second line of education because the first one didn't work out either. I'm just saying, I'm right. You're wrong. Caleb is wrong and I'm right. Period. That's all we need to, that's how this is settled. I am right. Caleb is wrong. Now, there are certain cases where it can work out. Yeah, your third one. So congrats to Sam. Um, but that means he has a success rate of 30%. So I guess there you go, Caleb. You have a 30% guarantee if you get a degree. 30%. 33%. So I'm just saying, it's like, it is what it is. I have never used a degree. So every job I had, which is kind of insane. But I've had a lot of jobs too. I really have. Yeah. Well, again, Caleb, I cannot speak to that whatsoever. I can only speak from America, you know. I'm an American. I'm in America. It's no guarantee. That's all I'm trying to say. Um, yeah, I mean, I think they can pay off, but it takes many, many years, takes a long time. And then they do tax the hell out of you too. So it's tough. And no, no, I don't want to move to the third world. Oh my gosh, Sam. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, she's Prop 25 and owns a 200K house. Okay. She's probably in a lot of debt. So, also 200K, you can't find a house that price anymore. Unless if it's kind of, ratchet. That's hard to find these days. So, it just depends. Okay, well, that's good for sure. She probably chose a specific industry then that was, like, lacking people. Yeah, because it's worth it to do that. Like, if you look at it from a purely calculated perspective, then it is worth it. It can be worth it depending on how much debt she's in. I don't know. If she's, like, 200K in debt, for example, that would be hard. And then if she has another 200K of debt of the house, you see what I'm saying? I don't know what the average debt for medical school would be, but if it was, like, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then she's another $200,000 in debt, then that would be still kind of, like, good, but kind of, like, it's still gonna take a while to pay that off. Does that make sense? I don't know. It's confusing, and then with interest rates and stuff, it's like you'd have to really get in the nitty-gritty when it comes to that. But, again, I think they need to, like, teach, like, financial stuff too, because a lot of people, they're, like, really debt-based and, like, everything is debt, and they're in debt upon debt, and it's just horrifying. And it's like, "Oh my god." Her hustle has to be super well funded. Interesting. Or she's lying. Just kidding. That could be an answer too. But I would say she probably chose an industry that's really hurting for people. So that would be a way that that could happen. Like if there's very, very few people that have that education, then that can work. And you can get a degree where that will work. But yeah. Um, I don't think so, Caleb. I'm not a fan of it because all it does is inflate the cost. So, because then universities just charge more and more and more and more. It just goes higher and higher. And then you're having to pay higher and higher taxes, and then they just keep going up. So I don't agree with it. I think it's better to just have like I would even rather there be like apprenticeships and stuff because I don't know. I don't understand why certain things have to take like almost 10 years to learn. It's like you could learn it. I don't know. And then like the PhD side, it's just like I just don't know. I feel like a lot of it is like rigmarole. Like one of my friends, she's getting a PhD and they keep making her teach classes. And she's like, I'm not going into education. She's like, why do I have to teach a class? This is stupid. This is outdated. She has to teach 3 classes. That's a huge waste of time. She's never going to be a teacher. Why should she have to do that? Like, that's a waste of time. So I think there's just so many aspects to education. I think the whole system is just so fucked up. And it's such a waste of time and such a waste of money. Like, they need to like drastically change it, make it drastically more affordable. I think Trump wanted to do a policy where he makes like online education much more affordable and it can undercut at university. And I think that would great because it's like it just needs to change entirely. Yeah, but it must be like a very specific thing that is like hurting for people, or like there isn't a lot of people that have that education. That's probably what it is, because I could see that being a thing for that. Okay, well, I don't know. That's not at all how it is here, Caleb. Like schools charge 50K a year. So that's insane. It's probably even higher now. So imagine going to university and you're paying like 75K a year to go. That's like a reality for people here. And it's because our government funds it, incentivizes, and they keep raising the cost. And then they say, "Oh, we need more." I don't know, Sam. It depends. That might be private though, to be fair, but still, it depends. And I don't know what the cost of like law school is and stuff. It depends on the university, but I think Harvard or something like that, they would probably pay for it. There's probably enough donations. But yeah, so for Harvard, your average cost before aid is $78,000 for 1 year of college at Harvard. And then they say average cost after aid, which aid could be grants and scholarships from the institution, state, and federal government. So that means that the government and taxes and stuff is going towards, and it makes it to where the average student is paying 13,000. So that means taxpayers and all this stuff, donations and other people, they're paying almost 60 grand a year. And that person still is paying 13 grand or whatever. It's crazy. That's what happens. It's a scam. It's not worth that. It shouldn't have to cost that much. It's not worth that. I'm sorry. It's ridiculous. So I don't support government paying for it because they're just going to charge more and more. That's what's happened. So, yeah, well, I don't agree because I don't really think government really helps with education. I think, with all due respect, things like critical race theory show, our kids that go to public school, they can't even read. People that go to college, they come out as activists that only, you know what I mean? It's like, what are they even learning? So I don't agree at all. I think it's something the private sector could totally handle. The private sector totally handled it. Like, well, they do regulate what they're doing. That's why they're teaching horrible shit, because the government is regulating what they're teaching. Caleb, hello. You think some of these schools really care or like really want to teach CRT? Like, they don't care, but they get funding if they teach it. So they'll teach it. The government is telling them to. So it's like, no. Forever, people had private education. It worked. I went to a private school. You know, I learned how to read. I learned basic life skills. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. I just don't think, I don't know. I guess I'm very libertarian on that issue now. I will say that. I've become very libertarian on the issue of education because it's just a scam. It's so expensive. They don't teach you anything anyways. And if you do learn anything, it's like you're in massive debt for no reason, and it takes so many years. You have to struggle so much, and you're barely even learning. Like, why the fuck do we have to do general education? Shouldn't that have already been done in high school? Why do you have to do it again in college? You should just be doing your major. Why do you have to take, SJW studies to get a degree in engineering? It's just stupid. It's a scam. It's a waste of time is what it is. Like I said, I'm not like, and I have to clarify, I'm not anti-college or anti-university. I am just anti-glorification of it. It's not that great. It's okay. It's fine. I think it's a totally viable option, but it's not an 100% thing. It's not a huge guarantee of anything. It's like any other path. You just have to figure out what works for you. That's my stance on it. But a lot of times, again, I know Caleb isn't American, but in America, there's just so much rigmarole about how amazing education is, even though it isn't. So it's like stuff I've dealt with my whole life. And I'm just kind of like lashing out a little, not really lashing out, but I'm just like, I talk badly about education so much because it's so praised here. And it's not that great. It should be seen as more even with other options, like being a plumber or something. It's like if you can actually become a plumber and have a decent job and make a decent amount of money, or a welder, that should not be seen as worse or less of a guarantee than going to college. That's stupid. So it just drives me nuts. Our degree courses are all 10K or less. Well, even that is probably too much. It doesn't need to be that much. It's ridiculous. How can we build bridges if we don't know why they are racist? Yeah, pretty much, Sam. Also, as a repository, yeah. Well, the thing is, Caleb, is Harvard is seen as like one of the most top universities in the world, and so is Oxford, and they are the most trash SJW universities I could ever imagine. So I don't really trust the ranking at all. But I get that people do. I just don't. But I'm not really a pomp and circumstance kind of person. I just care about like what's real. I don't care about image. Does that make sense? Maybe I would have if I had never been sick. Maybe I would have cared about image. But because I was so sick, I couldn't live up to the image. So now I don't care at all. So it's like we have, it caused a different path in my life. As a repository therapist, she's going to have to also keep up her education. So she's going to have to keep updating her knowledge, but probably also trying for new licensing depending on new technologies. That's interesting. There are more high-paying jobs for men without degrees than women, though. Yeah, that might be true. Or there are at least more male-focused jobs or male-centered jobs. I had Harvard admission contact me. I laughed at them. Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying. It is what it is. I'm just giving a counter argument more so than anything, because it's not really about like, oh, I'm hating on somebody who's going to college. I'm not. Like, I need you to understand that, Caleb. Totally support you going. You have your reasons. There are so many reasons why. I had my reasons why I went, but at the end of the day, I regret it. I wish I didn't. And that's, the reality. I'm not alone. There's a lot of people, and they don't say it because there is a taboo against saying that higher education was a waste of time. There's a huge taboo of saying that in my country. It's like, oh gosh, I don't know. It's kind of against, it's almost sacrosanct. It's like a religious fervor here for it. But I'm just like, no, it's stupid. So I'm going to say it's dumb or it doesn't always work or it's not, the ticket to heaven. It just isn't. And my generation was sold that lie so deeply that it's like, I'm never going to accept that ever again. It was just horrible. When they quoted me for a post-grad cert, not even a PhD, it was something like 50K. Yeah. That was a certification, not a degree. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Those are trades you potentially have to go through apprentice programs to master programs. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it just depends. And my whole thing is like, I don't think you ever have a guarantee. And I think that that's hard for people to accept. No, Caleb, no. Mm-mm. What I learned was worthless, was pretty much absolutely worthless. All I learned is that the system is stupid. I learned how they scam research articles. I learned how to manipulate statistics because I took a statistics class and they showed me how you can make a study say something or something else based on how you tweak the numbers. So I learned that. So all it did was show me that a lot of it is fake, which is why I doubted it a lot because I saw it. So that was worth it to actually see it with my own eyes and see it. I saw the SJW in school. I saw how you could change statistics to say anything. I did a soft science. I did psychology. That is a very specific type of thing, which policy is made based on that. So even you could say, oh, well, that's not as important of a science. It doesn't matter. It still affects you. When they scam things in psychology, they use that to push political policy. They use it to make arguments. And it's based on nothing. And you have so many people like being told, like, I have too many friends that are in education. It's just I'm just so not with it. Like, I'm sorry. And that's okay. Like, I don't think everybody has to like worship the ground of higher education. I just don't, and I don't have to. So, but yeah, I'm just saying there are other things to do. So, it's not about like going to college is a bad thing. It's not the only thing to do. It's not a guarantee of success. It doesn't mean you're dumb if you don't go to college. There are so many people that are dumb that went to college. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a singular destination or a singular path on a list of paths that you could take. And that's kind of my stance on it, you know? But we make our decisions. I just wish I hadn't been sold the lie that college was this huge guarantee and that it was going to be okay as long as I got a degree. Because if I wouldn't have been told that, I wouldn't have gone. So, well, sure, Caleb, but it's not about like if it turns you SJW or not. It's just about if it was even worth it, which for me personally, it wasn't. And again, I'm not alone. There's a lot of people who it wasn't worth it for. So that's all I'm trying to say. And that's what I'm trying to convey as a sort of counter argument or just kind of even it out. Because I feel like you see college up here and you see everything else here. And at least in America, it's not. It's like this. It just depends. It depends on the person. If you're smart, if you have grit, if you're willing to learn, then you will make it. If I ever make it on YouTube, it will be because I worked on speaking for 10 years because I am hella introverted. I worked public jobs that were horrible for me to do. I worked on call centers. I've worked with YouTubers, one of which who stabbed me in the back horrifically, counseled me publicly, did all this crazy shit to me. I worked with Carlin, as you guys know. I learned a lot about activism. I learned what to do, what not to do. So many different aspects that a college could never teach me, ever. Never. Because there are so many things you have to learn on the job. And again, when it comes to like YouTube, for example, I'm starting with nothing. So, well, yeah, and I can understand that, Caleb. And again, I'm not judging you at all. It's just some people, they do college and it works out great. Like my cousin, he did, he went into engineering and he got a good job after he graduated and he's done really well. Um, but then like my other cousin, she got a degree in science and she's not really, she couldn't get a job in it. Didn't work out. So it's like, how the hell would you tell? How could you tell? You think you're doing the right thing, but it just depends. It depends on the person and it depends on what you do. It just depends. Like I said, there's no guarantee. So it's like, yeah, there's a lot of people that it works out for. Like I will say, with Lisa, she had to pursue higher education because to my understanding, I don't think her degree worked out the first time, but now the one that she has now, it worked out great. You see? So it's like you just have to see. You just have to see. I think it depends. But, you know, Lisa thinks that my psych degree helped me in some ways. I don't think it did. um, Most of my research on psychology I did alone. I did it on my own. Um, but also too, like the only part of my education experience that I don't regret is just that I know how full of shit it is because I saw it. And that's something that you cannot like I couldn't know it if I hadn't gone. Because if I wouldn't have gone to college, what I'd be saying now is, I wish I would have gone. That's what I would have said. But instead, it's like, no, I went. So I'm going to tell you what I really think. And it was BS, it was bull. I ate chips tonight. Now I feel really shitty. I'm not surprised, but yeah, it's a thing. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what your degree is in, Caleb. Can you say what you're getting a degree in? Because it depends. It really depends. And again, I can totally understand from being in a different country, it can be totally different. And I totally get that. Like, I'm just talking about from America perspective, which is like very specific. Um, so I don't know if, our universities are probably just crap here, like for the most part. I know that's terrible to say, but it's just probably true, to be sure. Like, or to be fair, it's kind of crap. But I'm applying for accountancy. Okay. Or IT. Okay. I think accountant is pretty good. Yeah, you're probably right. Those are probably going to be fine, Caleb, to be fair. Because those are those are like pretty secure jobs. So, it also depends on what you get it for. You know what I mean? I don't know how competitive accounting is, but I'm pretty sure there's enough people that need one, for example. So it just depends. But yeah, anyways, I did psychology. I even did English for a little bit. It was horrible. English, it was so SJW. And again, it did help me in a way just because it showed me how insane it was. It was insane. And they literally were teaching English students that they were going to be the arbiters of morality to kids. They were like, "We don't have religion anymore, so English classes, we're the teachers that teach kids morality." And I was like, "Holy shit. What the actual fuck?" So they were teaching future English teachers that. And I saw it in person. So again, I don't know if I guess if I think about it, maybe my education wasn't a waste, but all it taught me was how full of shit it is, like I said, and it's like, I didn't do a hard science or anything like that. I didn't do a STEM field. I mean, psychology is science, but it's a soft science, so it's different. I think it's easier to, like, bullshit, to be honest. I know that's terrible to say. I feel like my teachers would hate me if I said that, but I really do think it is. Um, I think it's so easy to bullshit psychology. It's so easy. Um, but in terms of, like and then when I did English, it was like, oh my god, it was crazy. Um, it was crazy. Yeah, I don't know, like, I think some people, they learn some things in art, like, they can learn some technical things. Music, I could see being valuable. I don't know how much money you would make after, but I feel like you can learn like, you could become classically trained. Music is like music theory. It's kind of mathematical, so it's a little bit different, but drama, I don't think. I'm like, "No. You need to if you suck, then you just suck. Like, you are just not good at acting." I know that's harsh, but that's my honest take. Yeah. Okay, well, that's great, but I agree with that. Yeah. And again, I just think there's gotta be other options and stuff, and again, if you are like me and you want to pursue something creative, it can be hard, and then it's not hard, you know? It just depends. But that's my choice. I wanted to do that, and it took a really long time. It's still taking a long time, but I feel like I might actually be okay pretty soon, you know? 'Cause I feel like I'm starting to get somewhere here where it's like I can speak well enough, I can do this stuff well enough, and I'm getting better at it, but I was not, like, committed to YouTube or committed to working online or being public for a lot of years, and that held me back because even as recently as, like, 2021, I wasn't sure if I wanted to do YouTube. I was always, like, dipping a toe in or, like, in 2 worlds, and I even worked corporate, you know? You know that, Caleb, I told you. I even did a corporate job. So I did corporate, and again, Cove changed that where it's like I didn't I tried to go down that traditional path again, it's like I tried to be traditional going to college, and it failed horribly and didn't work. Then I tried doing corporate, and it failed horribly. And so it's like I just don't think I was meant for that. I think I was meant to do this, which I didn't really want to even. I know that's terrible to say, but I was like, I don't know if I want to do this, but I wanted to, but I didn't. But because of Cove, it just kind of like forced it. And then last year it was like, well, I should just do it because I was trying to be a writer, and I was like, I write and write. I can't get anybody to read anything that I write ever. I couldn't even get my own mother to read what I wrote. Like, I wrote a whole third-ass book. She didn't read it. Nobody did. And it was like, I can't do anything with this, but I can get on YouTube and talk about my butt, and I can get people to watch. I was just like, I think I have more of a talent for this. I think I like this more. I love YouTube. You guys know, like, I do this for free. This is free. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know. It's just funny. So it was my fault, is what I'm trying to say. I think the reason I haven't made it is because I was lame and I couldn't commit. because I kept thinking, oh, there's no way I could do YouTube. It's too extroverted, or it's too public, or oh, I could never do this. And then it was like, no, I want to. I've always wanted it. And it was like, I need to just do it because it's what I'm good at. And, you know? So I think that's the thing too. Like, I think if you're a creative person, sometimes traditional education just isn't going to work, because I don't think they don't really support, in my experience, they don't really support creativity. That doesn't mean that they're going to kill it in you. Like, that's not true at all. Um, it just means I don't think they ever give you creativity. It's like, I don't think they can teach you to be creative, because oftentimes they just try to mold you into what they want you to be. And so I think in certain industries, it's just not good. But something like IT or accounting, like something very dry and cold, absolutely, I could see that being worth it. Because it's just straight shot. And I would just argue you shouldn't do general education. You should just do what you're doing and be done in half the time, if that makes any sense. That's more my argument for that, because it's like you already know how to read. Like, why do you have to learn how to read again in college? Like, it's just stupid. But anyways, I think the main thing is that in third world, only about 10% have degrees. It's a huge achievement if you got one. That does make sense too. But I think it's just, what matters is you just have to do kind of like what you're meant to do in that sense, or what you're good at, because no matter what education you have, if you have it or don't, I think it's even beyond what you're good at. I think it's also like your passion, because then even if you get canceled or something, you'll still want to do it. And that's why I titled the stream the way I did, because I love YouTube. I'm going to clean up bottles with you on New Year's Day. Like, I love this so much. And it's like, I don't know why I didn't commit to it sooner. It's just sad. It's just stupid. But it was probably my fucking sickness side that's like, no, that's too spontaneous. You don't know the outcome. You don't know what will occur. You have to do this. Blah, 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 blah. It's like, I didn't. I could have just been spontaneous and just done it, and I would have been fine. So stupid. And I ended up doing it anyway. It just took a long time. It's still the same. I ended up in the same place. But I think that's why, like I said, maybe we have certain things like happen to us or whatever. Like, I had this illness because it didn't allow me to just go with the crowd, because that wasn't what I was meant to do. I was meant to change things or challenge things or whatever. And I just think that's fine. But I don't know. It's hard, Caleb. Like, honestly, it's hard. It's hard to not take a traditional path. It's like, oh my God, it's really hard. So, geez. But I mean, we need everybody. We need people that take traditional paths too. Like, I don't think I'm better than anybody. You know what I mean? Because most of the time, creative people, they're supported by people who are in more traditional type of stuff. You know what I mean? So it's like a 50-50. Yeah, I think that's probably true, Caleb. You learn from everything, right or wrong, or wrong or right. That's true. And Bot learned that she shouldn't eat chips. Okay, well, you could absolutely do that, Bot. But see if you can do just the certification then. Get something quick, and see if that's good. If you want to go further, then you could. But I would suggest doing something very cold, something like accounting or that kind of thing, if it's just about money. So yeah, that would be great. With the scarcity in third world, even if they had certain degrees, some of those degrees would mean nothing, depending on the surplus of resources relied on the degree to function. Interesting. Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's just okay. You're good, bot. I'm excited for you. I think it'll be great. Yeah, so anyways, just know like I'm not shading college at all. I just don't, like I've said, I don't like it presented as the only option. But that doesn't mean that I'm against it. I'm not. And that doesn't mean it makes you SJW, even though they've really fucking tried. They will try. Holy shit, do they try? But obviously it didn't work on me. So yeah, I could see that, Caleb. Yeah, that's a good point, but and if anything, maybe you will have to just get experience somehow, you know. I think there's I think there's hope. You know what I mean? So, I don't think you should be totally discouraged. So anyways, I love this, by the way. I love YouTube. But I need to get back to my main channel. I need to do more, but I wanted to come here because I like this. It's so funny because on my main channel, I do not want to go live ever. I just don't. But I think it's because that one's more like my work. And this one is more, it's just different. 5, 6. I want your midnights, but I'll be cleaning up bottles with you on New Year's Day. Hold on to the memories, they will hold on to you. 2, 3. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, I guess my point is like there's a couple of different takeaways, I guess, and like one of them is I do think passion will get you through. So I think at least in America, again, I can't speak for everywhere, but I think in America, like if you have a passion for something, then you can always outcompete other people. And even if you get canceled, it's like you'll get up and try again. You know what I mean? So it's that kind of thing. Everyone needs accountants or IT professionals these days. In fact, we have a shortage here in the third world, so you can actually earn a lot more than in first world countries. Yeah, that makes sense to me because it's also about scarcity. So, like, what industry you're going into, what options will there be? You know what I mean? Or like they'll pay more. It's like what Bot was saying about the therapy, the whatever job that person has. It's probably because there isn't many people doing it. So again, making that kind of decision from a financial aspect, that can work too. But you just like with anything, you have to have fallbacks of like, what if I don't get the job? You know what I mean? So that's why people try to get degrees that are a little bit versatile and that kind of stuff because you never know. So yeah. So yeah, my goal is my New Year's resolution is to block anybody that disagrees with me. So Caleb is blocked. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, my resolution for 2024 is to, apart from the other stuff I said, it's to keep things open and try to have as open of a mind as possible, or at least like allow things to be challenged, or like get in arguments and work things out, have more perspectives, and always expanding, oh my gosh, expanding and broadening my horizons. That's what I want. So that's another thing I want. So okay, I think it's totally doable, but completely doable. So you just got to figure out what you want to do, but that is totally doable. Yeah, I can understand that too, Caleb. So I think it's totally depends on certain things. But yeah, I would say it just depends. I think in America, it's so oversaturated with degrees that it's kind of meaningless for a lot of people, you know? But I just think the education system needs to be redone, like pretty much from the ground up. That's my opinion. So it's just horrible. But I think it's just horrible. So, anyways, in America, and I'm speaking from an American perspective, and that's where I'm coming from. You know, that's what I experienced. That's what I see. That's how it is. Blah blah blah. You know, I can't speak to every single country and every single situation. And I don't think that education is always a waste of time in America. I think it's just, you really have to like want it, you know? And if you don't, then you probably shouldn't do it, because I don't know. Yeah, so we'll see. I'm just going to continue my path. Which again, I mean, my education was a part of my path, so I guess I can't separate it, but I will never give my degree any credit whatsoever, other than teaching me that it's all crap. It was like one of the first things that taught me that. And that was like, boom, with Cove. That was the final straw where I was like, oh yeah. And so it led me to this diet, and here I am, you know. We're going to do something. We're going to change the world. We're going to do something, guys. Bot can see how chips actually make her feel now. I love that for you, Bot. It's good information, though, isn't it? And guess what? I didn't learn it in college. I'm going to say that all the time. I didn't learn it in college, but but that's okay. I think some people are meant to be like, you know, not everybody's meant to be in the system, if that makes any sense. So that's fine. People not willing to pay the prices because they're not happy with the work. Yikes. I can't believe I ate them every day. Now you know how I feel about it. At least you never got as bad as I did. So you just got to know. Caleb still eats chips and he needs to be slapped. So I don't usually agree with shaming people for their diet, but I think we should shame Caleb for his diet. Absolutely. Caleb is somebody that should be shamed. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, you guys. What if I like ended up famous? And what if I had like crazy fans that were like Swifty levels of devotion? That would be so weird. I don't know if I would handle that very well. Midnights, I'll be cleaning up us you on New Year's Day. See, but even this channel, I didn't commit to this channel either. I literally almost deleted this channel in July. Isn't that crazy? See, I'm just dumb. Don't be like me, Caleb. Whatever you do, don't be like me and don't be non-committal because jeez, that's like stupid. I would already be so much further ahead if I wasn't like always doing that. But at least I know what I'm doing now, so I'm gooch. Hold on to the memories, they will hold on to you. I'll be cleaning up buzz with you on New Year's Day. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 1. Ooh. Oh, girl. Ooh, I'm tripping out on this. Okay. Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Woo, that was wild. I can't believe you ate them every day either, but it's systemically oppressive that you did. Three, 4, 5 today. I think I'm getting tired because I keep like tripping out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Whew, man. I don't know. Maybe it's different for South Africa because we aren't a third world. Okay. Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, I'm sure that there's some, because even like I think in some Asian countries it might be that way too, Caleb, where it's like you make more money and stuff. You just have to, I think it's very much like, you know, it's all based on it's different based on where you're at. Good, but I'm happy. I'm happy for you. I'm just kidding. I mean, I am happy for you, but I'm just kidding about singing Demi Lovato. Anyways, you guys are cool beans. Oh, man. I don't even know, Caleb. Like, good luck. You're on your own, kid. I'm just kidding. That's our message to Americans today. Oh, nice, Celtic. Yeah, I could see that. Maybe I mean, the only thing is your power thing. That is horrible. It makes me sad. Anyways, you guys, I guess I feel like I should get going, but I did want to pop on for New Year's because I love doing this. But I don't know when I'm gonna go live again, but I don't know. I'm gonna message Caleb. Probably. I'm gonna cuss him out. I'm just kidding. But I'm just kidding. Could you imagine? Oh my God. I think no matter what you guys do, the only thing that I command, I'm just kidding, but the only thing that I would say is just try to thrive, like try to do well for yourselves, no matter what it is. And just like, don't be like me and don't be non-committal and flip from thing to thing and then sabotage what you wanted to do anyways and then end up going back to it later and like just don't do that. So that's my advice too. That's some sage life advice. Don't do what I did. Don't get in fights with everybody and then, like, not have anyone and all this crap, and nobody wants to help you. Like, don't do that. I've done that too. So, don't do that. Don't do what I've done, and you'll be fine. Oh my god. To be fair, though, I feel like this diet is kind of like it's probably my life's work in a sense. Like, it's probably one of the most important things I could have done. So, everything happens for a reason. Yes, Caleb, absolutely. Gosh. So, under Trump, I was paying the same pretty much, maybe even a little bit more, maybe a tiny bit more. No, wait. Dang, I made a lot. I think I was doing a more traditional job though. I don't know. I guess my comparison isn't fair because I was corporate under Trump. So when you're corporate, there's more security. You make more money. And I was getting promoted a lot, but I hated it. I hated it. Oh my God, I fucking hated that job. It was brutal. I fucking hated it. God bless anybody that does a job they hate every day. It's crazy, but I love my job now. I love it. It may not pay that well, but I love it. So I think for me, it was like I needed to just do something I loved, but that's my own personal thing. So, and I love my job. I do. Oh, nice. Nice, Celtic. It's an evil skull. Evil. Evil, evil. Mm-mm, that's too dark. I'm just kidding. Oh my gosh, you guys. I know. I know, but me too. Yeah, and that's also totally valid, Caleb. Like I think it's different for different people. Like, 'cause for me, I so hated my job. Like, it was wild. It was wild how much I hated it. Like, I don't even know. Hated it. But it kind of helped me, I guess. I don't know. Like Caleb said, or oh God, what does that mean? Ew, Caleb. That's your new boyfriend, Caleb. That's probably who asked you out. I'm still like, I find myself thinking about how you said that he's like buff and femme. And then you're like, he's probably gonna ask me to dominate him. He probably will. I wonder how femmy Caleb is. I'll never know. I'll never know. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm so gay, you guys. I feel like unfunctionably gay right now. I should probably get going. I'm tired. Anyways, you guys, love hanging out with y'all. This is fun as always. Don't be systemically oppressive. Don't yeah, that's all I have to say. That's my final statement. I don't know when I'm gonna be live again because I got plans tomorrow. I talk to people on the phone so much now, it's kind of insane, but it keeps me sane. I have to keep being social, so huge resolution. Anyways, you guys, talk to you guys later. Think about your resis. I'll talk to you later. Bye.